All right, I'm here with Sports Talk Jay. He is one of the biggest Tennessee Vols on YouTube. We have had some lighthearted banter back and forth over the past few months, but the big game is here. It is Florida Tennessee Hate Week. This game is going down on Saturday night in the Swamp, 7 p.m. All right, impressions of Tennessee last week. I know you weren't nervous when Austin P had a lead in the second quarter, but were you frustrated or annoyed about what you were seeing on the field?
Well, I'm going to be candid about it. I'm deeply concerned about our quarterback situation. Joe was looking good since the Clemson game. He played pretty well in the Virginia game, and so I felt very comfortable that he would just absolutely wear out Austin P. And the guys were open, and he made some good throws, some that were not, and they weren't catching them. And these are guys that have fantastic hands, and they're great wide receivers. So it was a very frustrating game. And I can tell you, they just had a players only meeting Sunday. Right after that game, they were so upset and angry with just themselves
Yeah.
over how really poorly they played in that game. And I don't know if they were looking forward to Florida and just kind of tried to sleepwalk through it or what happened. But our quarterback play was not there, and our wide receivers were not playing to their level either. And Austin P fed off of that.
So you talk a lot about Joe Milton, and I was going to ask you about him. He played so well in the bowl game last year. I think that there was so many people that were like, "Oh my gosh, there probably is not even going to be a drop off at all." What do you attribute the underwhelming performances that he's had since then?
He's always been a little bit inaccurate at times, and he throws the ball so hard. I almost wonder if he's not really on. Can the guys catch those balls if they're slightly offline? If they're coming in at such a tremendous RPM, how much harder is it to catch the ball? Because I didn't play football in college; I played golf. But I know the harder something comes at you, the harder it is to deal with.
Oh, for sure. That was one of the things that wide receivers would say about Tim Tebow, honestly, was that he threw the ball so hard that sometimes that actually made it difficult to catch. Okay, so you talked about the mood in the locker room after the game, and I would assume that then this team is incredibly fired up to come down to Gainesville this weekend. But what is the mood of Tennessee fans who've, watched their team these first 2 weeks knowing that they're heading to Gainesville this weekend and this is a big one?
This is really the key game for us in the first half of the season. Florida, having had our number now for this is 10 times at the Swamp that we've lost, 20 years. The last time we won was 2003, and I was there. And that's how long it's been. So this is a very important game to Tennessee. And I was really looking forward to it and thought that we would win this by 7, but I'm not as comfortable after the performance I saw against Austin P. And I've watched your quarterback, who has got a really nice arm. He's talented, but he's a bit pedestrian as far as being able to run the ball.
Sure.
So he doesn't scare me as much, but I do think he's going to throw for some yardage.
Well, I was in the stands in that game in 2020 or 2003 as well as a freshman student at UF, and my husband was on that team. So we were all in the stadium that day. Tennessee has only beaten Florida 5 times since 1953 in the Swamp, which it's just an insane swamp or an insane stat to me, given how close I feel like this rivalry feels like it's always been. I mean, that stat is not close really at all. But I honestly would argue that this game maybe means more to Billy Napier and his staff than Tennessee based on what both programs did last year. I think that Billy Napier is starting to really feel, some heat. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat by any means, but I think Florida fans are a little bit frustrated, a little bit concerned. Do you think that there's a chance this might mean more to this coaching staff, or they need it more maybe?
I think it's critical for Billy Napier to win this game. I think he is under pressure, and it's understandably so. That first game, I can't understand. I cannot understand for the life of me what he was doing when there was 30 seconds left in the third quarter, and he let all 30 seconds tick off, and you're down 3 touchdowns. I don't understand that for a competitive person that's achieved to his level to let that happen. I think that would be he needs to show something in this game. So I think it's very important to him. It's very important to Florida. But it's almost as important to us too. We need our quarterback to play well. If he does not, there's going to be pressure on him because we've got a 5-star behind him, and it's there's just you could not put enough stakes on this game. It's huge.
The stakes are high. I'm a little disappointed game day has chosen to go elsewhere, but all of us SEC faithful obviously will be tuned in. What are you the most excited about in a good way, the most surprised about maybe for Tennessee this season? All right, before we go on, I wanted to show some love to Meldon Law. Listen, guys, there are a bunch of injury firms out there, but there is only one that is a proud sponsor of the Florida Gators. The official injury firm of the team that plays in the Swamp should be your official injury firm as well. They do so much to give back to our program, and we really appreciate our partnership with them. Listen, you may not need them today, but if you're hurt or you know someone that's in an accident, give them a call or shoot them a message. It's Meldon Law. And even if you don't need them today, do me a favor, go to their Facebook and enter to win tickets to the Florida-Tennessee game in their ticket giveaway. We're not asking you to buy anything or spend your money. Let Meldon Law treat you to the game this weekend. The link to register is in the description of this video.
Their defense looks for real this time. Last year they improved quite a bit. They were still terrible in the secondary, but they seem to have improved significantly on the line. The line was good against the rush, but they weren't getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback. But we've already had 11 sacks in 2 games, and we're living in the backfield. We lived in Virginia's backfield. We lived in Austin Peay's backfield. Not it's Austin Peay, but you can just see Virginia's head coach said he was shocked at the speed, at the twitch, at how quickly they were getting past his offensive linemen. So that's the thing I'm most excited about, and I want to see what they do against Florida. Florida's offensive line is a little bit questionable right now with a quarterback that, I'm glad that AR is in the NFL. He absolutely had a field day on us. He is a nightmare to deal with, and I know he was frustrating to watch because of his arm, but I can tell you as his opponent, when he's on, you can't stop him. You can't stop the guy. So that's what I'm looking for.
So you've told us a little bit about some of your early impressions of UF, of Graham Mertz and of the offensive line, but what worries you the most about this Gator team?
The Swamp. I think the Swamp will have your team on fire. I think they're going to come out absolutely going 110 miles per hour. I think that is a huge factor. It's going to be at 7 o'clock at night. So your crowd is going to be in high spirits. Let's just put it that way. So I've been to the Swamp. I know how loud it gets and how crazy it gets. It's a big advantage, and it could definitely lead to winning this game.
Let's talk a little bit more about Billy Napier. So you're an outsider to the UF program. I know, Gator fans have dissected his hiring and how he's doing ad nauseum, but from an outside perspective, what is your impression of Billy Napier?
I thought it was a good hire at first. I'm concerned at the ending of last year when the Vanderbilt loss was one thing that concerned me some. But when AR was no longer part of the team, to only score 3 points against Oregon State concerned me. But then I saw his coaching style in a game, they're down 3 touchdowns, and it felt like in his mind it was a scrimmage for some reason instead of a very important ball game. And he's got a good enough quarterback there that I give that quarterback grief, but he's actually quite good. He's got a very nice arm. He needs to kind of ride that horse, and he should have got back in that Utah game and made something out of it. That's just my opinion. So that concerns me. That would be my biggest concern. Now, I think he will coach well in this game like he did last year. He coached like a crazy person against us last year. I think he will have that spirit into him this time. I'm not sure what happened in that first game.
All right, let's have a little fun. Which rivalry is more important to you, UF or Alabama?
Florida.
Florida. Okay. Tell me why. I need to know why we are your most.
It's not. It has nothing to do with wins and losses currently. It has to do with the fact that Steve Spurrier cost us 2 natties. He cost us 2 natties, and Steve Spurrier is the type of guy I'd love to play golf with and hang out with. I like his personality. I like the fact that he talks smack. I enjoy that. But he cost my team 2 natties and Philip Fulmer that, and I cannot forgive him for that. So I will always, always hold a grudge against Florida for that. And him saying you can't spell citrus without a U and a T, which I personally think is hilarious. You just, I mean, I miss that on some level. You need a villain,
Yep.
a really good, you need a Darth Vader, you need that in your life. And we don't have that right now. And Billy doesn't talk smack.
That's
So,
true.
so there is a possibility, and I know, your people don't want to hear this. I could see, let's say Billy Napier works out and everything's fine. Okay, everything's great. Well, let's say he goes 4-8 or something like that, something awful. And y'all decide, okay, your donors decide we're not going to put up with this. I could see Lane Kiffin there like that. I think he would take that job in 5 seconds, and I think he would be a tremendous opponent to have to go up against with your recruiting base, with the money that you've got, your fan base, everything that you've got there. He would be formidable, and he would be Steve Spurrier 2.0. Now, you may hate that idea, and I totally understand that, but that's just in my mind. I could see that happening just as easy as I could. That Billy Napier will be fine.
That would certainly elevate the Tennessee-Florida rivalry to a whole different level. All right, I want to get your score prediction. I want to know how you think the game goes down. But first, talk to me about your show. I want to know how long you've been doing it, what you like about it, and how you've grown it, because it's huge now.
Well, and you're doing quite well, I noticed too. Especially you haven't only been doing this for less than a year, had you?
Yep,
Something
about
like that?
6 months. Yep.
Yeah, and you've already got. I think last time I checked, you had over 5,000 subs, and you got a sponsor.
Yep.
So I mean, you're ahead of my pace. I've been doing this since June of last year, so that's 15 or 16 months or something. And I'm doing fine with it. It seems to be doing pretty well. People seem to like it. I enjoy it. It's fun. I put a lot of comedy in what I do. I will go ahead and tell you, you cannot take you. You just never know what I'm gonna do, honestly. And sometimes I do shows that are they're atrocious, and I know it, and I won't even put them out because I'm trying to be funny. And it's like I look at it, it's like I look like an idiot. I do a lot of different stuff, but I just like to have fun with it. I try to entertain people, and I take football very seriously, but that's just kind of how I roll.
Well, it's definitely fun to watch. All right, give me your final score prediction.
I'm gonna go. Man, I was at a 7-point difference. I'm probably down to 3 or 4 points now after what I saw against Austin Peay. I'm going to go 27-24 or 31-28, something like that. And I think we'll squeak it out, but I would not be shocked if we lost that ball game after what I saw against Austin Peay. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
All right. Well, I'm writing it down. We're going to follow up on it.
All
All right. We talked about your show, but I want you to tell people where they can follow you and where they can find your show.
Okay. Well, just Sports Talk Jay on YouTube is pretty much it. I don't do a ton of Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, now I talk some smack. You just need to, if you come see my show, there's going to be smack talking. And it's for fun. It's never mean-spirited, ever. And I've featured Allie's videos on there. And also High Top Sports. I started out featuring High Top Sports because I just really enjoy their show. I think that's fun. And I found yours because of High Top.
Yeah.
And I started watching your stuff, and I was like, okay, I try to find people that I like their videos for a particular school. Like for Florida, I go High Top and Allie. And then actually the guy that we were just talking to, I didn't realize that he was involved as far as a producer, and that's Double Fries No Slaw. He's my go-to for Florida State information. I just like his channel. I think he's a regular guy that, he just gives good information.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. And this has been really fun. I will catch up with you after the game and we will see if your prediction was right. Have a good night. And guys, Sports Talk Jay, make sure you follow him on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel.
Thank you. Thank you, Allie.